Hi, everyone. I thought I'd try something different this month. As many of you know, and if you've been working with me for a while, I usually send you an email once a month, keeping you up to date on what's going on here at Juniper Mist, whether it's the latest updates or new features or whatever the case may be. This month, I thought we'd change it up a little bit. Why don't I give you those updates through a quick video? Let me know if this is something that interests you. Do you like the video? Do you like the email? If you guys like the video and you think it's beneficial and you're able to learn more from it, I'll keep it up. If not, I'll go back to the email. No harm, no foul. So let's go ahead and kick this off. I will let you know that this is going to be a one-take wonder. I'm not going to go through and do various iterations of this, so we're just going to go for it, see what happens, and hopefully it all works out well. For those of you that don't know, actually, I haven't done a proper introduction yet. Some of you may not know who I even am yet. My name is Rich Korb. I am the Senior Systems Engineering Manager for the East region here at Juniper Mist. So all of the AI-driven enterprise systems engineers that work on the East region, I have about 7 of them on my team. They all report up to me, and I report up through Gene Sawyer and Sudhir Mata of the products organization here at Juniper. So it's a little bit about what my primary responsibility is. In addition to that, I'm also the primary systems engineer for Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. So I'm wearing multiple hats right now, but I really do enjoy getting in front of the customers and interacting and explaining the solution and solving customers' problems is really what I love doing. So it's a true passion of mine. So I'm really happy to be able to continue doing that, as well as managing an awesome team of systems engineers here at Juniper Mist. So looking at my notes here, let's talk about some key things here for today's video. Some of you may have attended or watched our Mobility Field Day 5 presentation on July 29th. It was a phenomenal presentation that we did, about 3.5 hours long, of going through some content about our basically our roadmap of what's coming here at Juniper Mist for the next couple months. We usually use Mobility Field Day's platform to convey the latest solutions and innovations that we're delivering, and that held true this year as well. So for those of you that were not able to attend or couldn't stay for the whole duration of the MFD event, we do have the recordings available. They're on YouTube. That has been included in the email that I have sent this video to you with, and also I have put it in the description of this video on YouTube so that you could go directly to that playlist and start watching it as well. So feel free to go through. They're all broken up into different sections. But just for the interest of time, I thought I'd just take a couple minutes, 5-10 minutes or so, and go through kind of the high level, the high water mark, so to speak, of what happened at MFD. First and foremost, that would be a brand new conversational interface that we are releasing for Marvis. This is absolutely just phenomenal. The ability to take what we already have, which is a great platform of using Marvis to go through and start troubleshooting and gathering that data so that you, the customer, you don't have to do it. Let the system do it for you. Let artificial intelligence take care of all that for you so that you can be a star and solve that problem much quicker than if you were analyzing that data yourself. We're taking that to the next level. So we're doing a conversation type interface with Marvis. And I have a quick video kind of showing what this will look like. Right now, it's still in development. We'll have this out and available for customer use by the end of Q3. But the idea here is, instead of going to Marvis traditionally, will still be possible. You can go through and ask basic questions. Show me my unhappy clients. Show me what clients are slow, whatever the case may be. But now we can go in the Marvis, and then using our predictive Marvis actions ability to be able to show you exactly what is happening on your network. Marvis is simply just going to come up and tell you what issues or problems it's seeing right now on the network. So as you can see, we have some issues with APs and switch issues. If I click on the AP issues, now it's telling you that 4 of those APs are offline, and 1 of those APs actually has a health check error. So what does that mean? Basically, what's happening now is that Marvis is coming back and showing you, based off all the data and analytics that we have captured from that access point, we have been able to determine that AP actually needs a newer version of firmware, because we actually see some errors that are occurring on that AP that would then say, hey, look, I've seen an issue. we as in Juniper Mist have already fixed that problem. We're aware of it. And all you need to do is upgrade this AP's firmware. So Marvis has said, hey, we need to upgrade this AP's firmware to address a known issue. You can basically just tell Marvis directly through the conversation interface that, yes, I would like to upgrade this AP's firmware, simply by saying yes, answering the question that, yes, you would like to upgrade the firmware. And then Marvis will come back and tell you that it is in the process of upgrading that AP's firmware. We can then also check on the status of that upgrade process by asking Marvis to show you the current APs at that given location. And then we can then check the filter column and then see exactly the versions that are being installed or running on those APs. And we can clearly see now that that John Desk 10 AP has been upgraded to 17.441, which is the version that has been recommended. So that's just one example of how to use the conversation interface. We can also go in and use natural language. So this is something that we have done at NIST for a while, is using natural language processing, asking basic unhappy client type questions, just typing in a basic question like you would ask a colleague. Notice that we're actually enhancing that with the conversation capability with Marvis. So we can actually type in the incorrect spelling of words. Marvis is going to be able to derive what you're actually trying to get to, basically, even though that the spelling is absolutely terrible. It looks like something that I may have typed in. So this way, we're basically saying, hey, my client's not working. Again, a very high level question saying that, hey, just my client is not working. Marvis is then able to say, well, not only did you spell it incorrectly, I'm still able to determine exactly what you're trying to ask. Let me show you all of the clients that are quote unquote unhappy on the network. These are the ones that are unhappy. And then you as an administrator could go through and then select exactly which AP you would like to get into, excuse me, which client you would like to get into to be able to see more information on that client. So in this case, we picked MFD 6. We see that there is a problem with this AP. Successful connects, AP health issue, and time to connect. So there were some successful connect issues due to a DHCP pool exhaustion error. Basically, there's no IP addresses available. We can then see when these problems occurred by looking at the failure timeline. And then we can also then be able to determine, was that something that we were aware of? There was a known issue on the network. Did that happen at that time? We can also go into the client insights, which is something that we've had at MIST for basically since day one, being able to get all that rich data set that we're collecting. There's 150 different client states that we're collecting for every single client all the time. We have that in the cloud, and then we're able to show exactly when these errors occurred. And if there was a potential like authorization or association type error, we may have actually captured a packet capture from that instance. So we could go through and look at that data as well. And then Marvis is going to ask you, hey, was this helpful? You could say yes or no. In this case, we're saying no. So then the system went ahead and created a support case ticket directly for you in the MIST system. So now the support technician from Juniper Mist can come reach out to you proactively as well. The next thing is kind of tying into another feature that we're releasing that we announced in Mobility Field Day, is kind of giving this context, this whole context of what's happening with the client. So up until now, we've been able to do awesome analytics on clients that are connecting to MIST APs and Juniper switches. What we're going to be adding in very soon is getting into the WAN side of the equation as well. So we're going to be incorporating the Juniper SRX firewall into the MIST dashboard. Much like what we did with the EX switches, we're going to be doing something very similar with the with the SRX, being able to get data from that firewall into the MIST cloud. So now I can start showing you more specific information on what's happening with the client itself from an application perspective. So in this case, we're actually asking the system, or asking Marvis, that Abhi had a bad Skype call. Tell me why Abhi had a bad Skype call. We can actually look at the actual client itself. Was there a problem with the client? We're not really seeing any issues with the client. We do have some potential problems with the AP itself, where we saw some potential issues with non-Wi-Fi related interference, although we really don't think that that's the true cause of the problem. There's no problem with the switch, but if you notice now, we're looking at the firewall, the SRX, and we did have some extremely high latency there with that firewall that potentially caused that issue with that Skype call. So this is now pulling in all of this data now from the edge of the WAN, and now also being able to show that through Marvis as well. And I have more detail, we'll discuss that in a moment. And then finally, we can also just ask some basic configuration questions. So asking Marvis how to set up a VLAN, for example, it'll pull up our documentation so that we get more information on that. So that is Marvis conversation capabilities. Are going to be added into the dashboard very soon. If you already have a Marvis subscription, you will be able to take advantage of this with no additional licenses or no additional subscriptions. Literally, you will come in one Thursday morning and it will be turned on and you'll be able to start using it. So that's the conversation interface with Marvis. The next thing would be the Marvis SDK. So the Marvis SDK is now using a software that could be installed on an Android phone to now give us a perspective on what's happening with the client itself. So we've been able to get data from the AP's perspective of the client, but now the client would be able to send information to Marvis and to our AI engine to be able to give you more visibility on what's happening on the client perspective. This will initially be available with Android first. So just a couple of examples of what this would look like. Basically, what we'll see here is the ability here to kind of give an idea of what that client RSSI looks like over time. And most importantly, we'll also be able to see, did this client roam from Wi-Fi to cellular? So this is a common problem, right? So, if the client is saying, or the customer is saying, hey, I can't get onto the network, it may just simply be because they're on the Wi-Fi, or excuse me, they're on the cellular, not on the Wi-Fi, that would be causing problems getting access to those apps and stuff. So this way we can actually see what the roaming history looked like for this client. Were they on Wi-Fi? What was the RSSI? Did they roam back to cellular? What was the RSSI when they were on cell? And then again, when they reconnected back to Wi-Fi. And then also from a historical perspective, also being able to see from that client's perspective, which AP did they hear and what was the signal strength of that access point. So these are various different APs that client heard that now is showing more information on those APs. So that is the Marvis SDK. More information to come there, but again, this is going to be released for the Android OS first. iOS, as you guys probably know, is a little difficult getting this data from. We will probably be incorporating some additional applications for other types of operating systems like actual laptops and whatnot, like macOS or Windows potentially. We're starting with Android first. So that is the SDK there. The next thing is kind of going into that AI-driven WAN example. I'm just going to let this video play and kind of talk about it, give you some background on what's going on here. So as you can see, the SLE perspective from a WAN perspective is very similar to what we're showing from the switches and from the APs. Notice we're also tracking app experience itself. So the SRX has a very powerful application detection engine to be able to see applications, also be able to do queuing and quality of service and whatnot on those applications. But more importantly, now we're able to determine if there was a potential issue with those applications and also the WAN link. What is potentially causing issues with that WAN link? Is it high latency? Is it congestion? Are we jitter? Do we have any IPsec VPN tunnel issues? Those types of things we've monitored as well. Just like what we're doing for all the other SLEs from a wired and wireless perspective, we're now able to do something very similar from the WAN perspective. So we can dig in and be able to determine what clients may be having the problem, which interface may be having the problem. And then of course, that historical insights page that we have, that's very valuable, being able to give you historical information on what's happened with that device, what type of problems may have occurred, tracking that information, and then using that to help you solve problems in the real world, right? So in this case, we're also showing you the applications that it saw from the SRX perspective and what's happening there in the environment. So that's just kind of an example of what's happening there with the WAN assurance. The video goes on to show another example of Marvis, which is what we just showed, the conversation view of Marvis, being able to go through and see the historical information of what's happening with that application and whatnot as well. So really good things there. Again, if you want to get more detail on any one of these things, we have the full MFD videos available on YouTube that you can go through and view and watch all of the detail that we released from our product management team, the owners of these things, being able to tell it to you exactly in more detail. I'm also obviously able to give you more information as well. If you want to schedule a call or something to go into more detail, happy to do so. And then finally from MFD is going through our portfolio of new APs. You guys probably are aware of some of these things already. I know I've talked to some of you about them, but now we're officially releasing them out. We are releasing a new 802.11ax or Wi-Fi 6 AP. We have the AP32 and AP33. These are 4x4 4 spatial streams, 5 gigahertz APs, 2x2 2 spatial stream, 2.4 gigahertz APs with 3 radios. So we have that third radio there for sensing and whatnot. The AP32 does not have our very cool patented 16 element BLE array in it that all of our APs have had up until this point. However, the AP33 does. It's the exact same hardware as the AP32 with that BLE array on it. So we've had some feedback from customers that have not wanted to use that virtual BLE antenna array. So that's why the AP32 does not have it. It kind of lowers the cost a little bit, and then will allow those customers that aren't interested in using it, they don't have to worry about it. The AP32 does have external antenna connections if you wanted to use that. So that's for the AP32, and then the AP33 has that virtual BLE antenna array inside of it. We are also releasing a new Wi-Fi 6 outdoor AP about September timeframe. By the way, the AP3233 is orderable now. We're a little bit backlogged on shipping, but probably could get one out in a couple weeks if you needed it, maybe even sooner. AP63 will be released in about September timeframe. So AP63 is basically the newer version of the AP61, fully NEMA rated. Take it out of the box, slap it on the exterior wall, you're done. There's no other enclosure that you need, nothing else that you need to do. It's all there for you. So that will be a 4x4 4 spatial stream for both bands, and also have the ability to do internal and external antennas for the AP63. And then the other AP that's really exciting is the AP12. The AP12 is a wall plate access point. This will be a 2 spatial stream, or 2x2 2 spatial stream, dual band Wi-Fi 6 wall plate AP. It will have 3 ports that were quote unquote switch ports or managed ports on the AP itself. One of those 3 ports will be PoE out, and then we have a 4th port that will be a pass-through. So on the back of the AP12, there's 2 ports, one to power the AP, and there's 3 ports, and then the second that's a simple pass-through. It's basically just a cable inside of the AP that connects back to that 4th port, so that you can connect back to your wired infrastructure if you wish. Yeah, so that's the AP12, and that will be a wall plate AP that will go onto a wall plate gang box or whatever the case may be. Popular for dormitories and higher ed or hospitality, those types of environments is really what the AP12 was designed for. So that kind of covers MFD in a very quick high level, although it probably went longer than I wanted to there. But a little bit more information on what happened in MFD. And like I said, lots of more information there with the videos available on YouTube. So let's talk about what happened back in July from an update perspective. Let's go into our dashboard and kind of cover real quick what we did. So first and foremost, and this isn't any type of order of coolness or priority, just kind of from the top of the page. This is a hidden feature right now, but if you're interested in seeing this, we can enable it for you. We do now have the ability to do alerting configuration within our dashboard. It's been a long time feature request from a lot of our customers. The ability to set up email notifications if something were to occur, like an AP goes down, or if a Marvis action kicks in, you would be able to create those notifications here directly through the alerting dashboard. One of the cool things here is that you do have the ability to configure how long a device needs to be offline for you to receive an email notification. So that way, as soon as the AP goes offline, you're not received an email. It'll be offline for 3, 4, 5 minutes, however long you set it, before that email notification would go out. So nice little feature there, which is cool. And then again, no order of priority here, but we also have a new Occupancy Analytics system. This is directly tied into kind of our proximity tracing use cases that we have out there now. The ability to see how many people are inside a given area or zone within your floor plan, so that you can enforce social distancing requirements that you may be required to do now. So essentially with your floor plan, you then draw in zones. You literally draw in a box or a square or whatever shape it may be over top of specific areas of this floor plan. And then you can go through and physically set the capacity, the number of devices that are inside of this zone. A device could be a Wi-Fi device. It could be a BLE device, or a combination, or an app device as well, actually. So it could be any of the 3 or a combination of the 3 that would count as a as a user inside of this zone. And the way that we configure that is through our site configuration inside of Live Demo. There's a whole slew of abilities down here to be able to set what you're going to determine as the minimum dwell duration for a device inside of that space. How do you want to set up notifications? We also have a URL that's available, public-facing URL, so that an end user or a guest could actually see what the occupancy is of that zone. So really cool things there too. This is also not generally available to everybody out of the box. If you need this capability, we can turn it on for you. There's no subscription or license for it. We just have to enable the feature in our system so that you can see it. So that is the Occupancy Analytics. And then I do want to touch on a really massive new change now that we have, which is the ability to configure Juniper switches from within the Mist dashboard. This was something that we released actually back in June, but we've really done a lot of enhancements, even just in this month of July, of new capabilities here of being able to manage these Juniper switches from the Mist dashboard. Up until now, we've been able to manage or monitor their switches, gathering insights, gathering data from the switches. But now we're able to push configuration to those switches and other things as well from a management perspective. So the way that these switches get onboarded is if it's a brownfield switch, you can just click on the adopt switch here and then copy your text and paste it into the CLI of the switch, and then the switch will be adopted into the dashboard. Or if it's a greenfield switch, all new Juniper switches are being shipped with a QR code and claim code, just like our APs have. You can then claim those switches just like you would an access point by typing in the claim code of your order if you have multiple switches in a single order, or individual switches have their own claim codes if you wanted to claim them too. So the cool thing with the claim code is that it's almost impossible to hack, so to speak, because it's not tied to a serial number or MAC address. It's just a garble of letters and numbers that then on our side is tied to a specific device, serial number, MAC address. So it makes it really secure to get these things onboarded. And then once they're claimed, we can do, with a greenfield switch, we'll be able to do zero-touch provisioning so that when the switch comes online, it'll grab the configuration template that we have set for that switch. So a switch template then allows us to go through and define exactly, what ports are defined for which VLANs and what their port configuration will be. That's all done here in the switch template section. And then when the switch comes online, it will automatically receive those configurations based on that template. And you can then see which ports are configured for what VLANs are configured for what port profile, and the like. I don't want to get into a lot of details on this video because it is actually a very detailed subject, but I just did want to touch upon it because it is a really cool new feature that we released recently, and it's really getting more traction. We're getting more customers doing proof of concepts and purchasing this. So definitely, if you're a Juniper Switch customer and you're not testing this yet, you need to. We can set up a beta test, so you don't have to pay for any subscriptions or license. I'll enable your org with the correct subscriptions, and then you can test it out. So you can play around with it, give us some feedback. It is technically still in beta, so if there's any information or feedback that you want to provide to us based on your experience with the solution, please let us know. We are all ears. We value customer feedback tremendously. That's how we build the solution for you. So please let us know if you have any feedback. I went much longer than I was planning to. I wanted to go through this information, and I tend to be a little bit long-winded, so my apologies there. But this was a lot of really good content. MFD was a phenomenal event. Again, I highly recommend you watch those videos. And if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Contact information here. I can put it on the screen so you can see that. And then, drop me an email, give me a call, whatever you'd like, and happy to help out. So, and even if you're not in the Southeast, if you're watching this video from some other part of the country or the world, you can still reach out to me and I can find the correct individual to put you in touch with based on where you're located. So with that being said, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me to the end on this. And watching the video. Again, if you have any comments, feedback, whether you liked it, whether you didn't, let me know, because if this was valuable for you, I'd like to continue doing it for you. If it's not, and you just want me to stick with email, I will continue just doing email. But let me know what works out the best for you and what do you think is the best use of your time. But other than that, guys, it's been a great couple minutes here with you. Appreciate it. Everyone stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you next time.